Hello students, I welcome you all to our Study Smart Hub. So today in this video we will be discussing on grade 10 science chapter 1 chemical reactions and equations, under which we will be discussing about a question paper. This video will make sure you understand each question concept wise, as well as you will remember it for your long run. Now quickly let's dive into the questions. In which one of the following situations a chemical reaction does not occur? So here if you read the question carefully, my dear children, they would have told does not occur. Okay, so chemical reaction does not occur. Let me explain each options with you. Option A, milk is left open at room temperature during summer. So what happens when milk is left open at room temperature? Definitely, if it is not refrigerated, it turns into curd. Okay, so there is a chemical reaction. First of all, you should remember what is a chemical reaction. Chemical reaction is nothing but you have the formation of new products, and it is an irreversible reaction. So option A is neglected. Option B, grapes are fermented. Grapes are fermented. Grapes are getting converted to the next stage. Okay, so fermentation is happening. So new product is formed. Therefore, chemical reaction does occur. Option C, iron nail is left exposed to humid atmosphere. Humid means what? You have moisture content in the atmosphere. So some amount of water is there. So when we have already studied this concept, iron, when it is left exposed to moisture, what happens? It starts to rust. So a new compound is formed and it's an irreversible process. Therefore, option C also undergoes chemical reaction. So what is the correct answer here? Melting of glaciers. What is the explanation for that? Melting of glaciers, water gets converted back, right? The ice gets converted back to water. Yes, and that process we have. So therefore, chemical reaction is a physical change. Therefore, chemical reaction does not occur for melting of glaciers. Now coming to question number 2. See, I'm actually underlining the key words, key points, what you need to focus on. Okay, for a question. To balance the following chemical equations, see, you need to find x and y. Okay, so this is the equation given to you, wherein you have sodium hydroxide plus aluminium oxide giving you sodium aluminate and water. Okay, and options are given to you. What we need to do is we need to just substitute the values and then we need to find out whether it is balanced or not. Okay, so first let me rewrite it. It is NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, 2 sodium hydroxide plus X. That is what you need to find out. You have aluminium oxide giving you Y times NaAlO2, sodium aluminate, plus water. Okay, so the first option A is said to be 1, 4. Let us try it out now. So if we substitute x to be 1, okay, and then when we substitute y to be 4, now let's check whether it is substituted equally on both sides. Balancing the equation, the main concept is you should have the number of elements present on the reactant as well as on the product side to be the same. Correct? So here if you see, here we have the atoms or the elements. This is your reactant side and this is your product side. After going for option 1, we are substituting and then we are checking. Okay, so first we'll go with the metals. that is sodium. Sodium on the reactant side you have 2, but on the product side you have 4. In the very first attempt itself we can say that it is not balanced, so we are not considering option A. And one main important tip to remember is whenever they ask for balancing equation, you will try to balance the metals first. Okay, so here you have metals or non-metals as elements. You will try to balance the metals first. Okay, so now we are going for the second option. If you see from the paper, the second option it says 1, 2, right? So we are substituting 1, 2. Now let's check that. Okay, so I'm just rewriting it. So 2 here. Now for this, again we are starting from sodium metal. Reactant side it is 2. Okay, right? And product side also it is 2. So it is satisfied. Now we are going for the next metal, which is aluminium, whether it is satisfied or not. Al. Al on the product side you have 2, as well as on the reactant side you have 2. So aluminium is also balanced. Now come to oxygen. Oxygen on the reactant side you have 1 plus 3, which is 4. Okay, and in the product side 2 into 2, 4. Completely balanced. That's it. You need not go for hydrogen checking because you have checked for sodium, aluminium and oxygen. Both sides it is completely balanced. Therefore, the answer is going to be 1, 2. Okay, the answer is 1, 2. Coming to the third MCQ. Third MCQ, if you see, on placing a copper coin. See, a copper coin is placed in green ferrous sulfate solution. So ferrous sulfate, iron sulfate solution, you have the copper being dipped. The question is, what will happen to copper sulfate? Now children, remember this particular question is based on the concept of reactivity series. Okay, it is based on displacement reaction. It's a type of reaction. Displacement of a particular element takes place based on its reactivity series. So now, since in your ferrous sulfate solution a copper coin is being kept, okay, now we have to check whether in the reactivity series copper is more reactive or less reactive than iron sulfate. So when you refer your reactivity series, you will find copper being below iron. Okay, copper is actually below iron, so copper is less reactive. Okay, copper is less reactive than iron, therefore it will not displace iron. So which is the correct option here? Remains green with no change in copper coin. No change because copper is less reactive. And what is the concept behind this question? Displacement reaction, wherein reactivity series. Okay, now the next one. When carbon dioxide is passed through lime water. Very simple. This again is an example of your type of reactions. Okay, so carbon dioxide, what is lime water? It is calcium hydroxide. Okay, lime water is basically calcium hydroxide. So what happens when carbon dioxide is passed through calcium hydroxide? It gives you a white precipitate. Okay, so the lime water turns milky. Okay, then and see here, white precipitate of calcium oxide is given, which is wrong. Which is wrong because what is the product form? That milky insoluble substance is calcium carbonate. It is calcium carbonate. If extended learning, if prolonged or excess of CO2 is added, what will happen? If excess of CO2 is added, this milky white nature will disappear. Why? Because calcium carbonate will get converted to calcium bicarbonate. Okay, it will get converted to calcium bicarbonate. That is why. Okay, so see, from one question we have learned the extended part of it. Now, fat, this is a very simple one. Fatty food becomes rancid due to the process of very simple rancidity. Easily we can go for the answer oxidation. Rancidity, immediately the answer is oxidation. Next one, identify the substance getting oxidized. Children, this is based on the concept of redox reactions. Okay, the concept behind this is redox reactions. Always for such type of questions, I would give you the tip. Okay, please make a note of the tip. Always check for the reactant side. Okay, reactant side only you will tell whether that particular compound has oxidized or reduced. In this case, we will check for the reactant side. We have two things. One is lead oxide and carbon. Okay. Now you see lead oxide as converted to lead. What does it mean? There is removal of oxygen. Removal of oxygen is nothing but reduction. Okay. But what is the question asked? They've asked for oxidized. Which is getting oxidized? Carbon, you see, carbon has converted to carbon dioxide. So, addition of oxygen has taken place. Therefore, it is oxidized. So, what is the correct answer? Carbon is the correct answer. See, you should know to neglect the options also. Product side, no, that you should not see for answer. Okay, so definitely C and D are omitted. The next question, it is very similar to the previous one, wherein in this question they haven't given you the products. Okay, so only the reactant they have given you. So if you know to write the equation, then you can easily predict the answer. Magnesium, manganese dioxide and HCl. Now let's see the products and then we'll discuss the answer. Okay, so it is MnO2 on reaction with HCl. What would be the product formed? It gives you MnCl2 plus H2O. Now, let's see what has happened. MnO2 has changed to MnCl2, meaning oxygen is removed. Removal of oxygen. Okay, so what has taken place? It has removal of oxygen. Removal of oxygen. Removal of oxygen means what? It is reduction. Removal of oxygen means reduction. What has happened to HCl? HCl has changed to H2O. So what has happened here? Chlorine is removed and oxygen is added. So what is this? Addition of oxygen. Addition of oxygen means what type of reaction it is? Oxidation. Okay, so it is an oxidation reaction. Now in one particular reaction you have both oxidation as well as reduction. Both oxidation and reduction. Such type of reactions are called as redox reactions. So what are redox reactions? In a chemical reaction where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously are called redox reactions. So from the options we can go for it, which is redox reaction. Other options blindly you can omit. Okay, need not worry about the other options at all. Now coming to assertion and reason. Very important to note the points. Okay, chips manufacturers usually flush bags of chips with oxygen. See, children, whenever you read a question, you have to go for the key word in the question. What is being mean here? Okay, so here they are telling you chips, for a package of chips, they flush it with oxygen. Okay, to prevent oxidation. That is what they are trying to tell. So is it correct or wrong? Obviously, it is wrong. So without reading the reason, we can directly go for the option D. Why? Because assertion is false. So what will be the correct one since it's false? What will they flush it with? They flush it with nitrogen. Please remember, they flush it with nitrogen gas so that to prevent oxidation. Okay. Yes, I hope you understood. So we have first discussed the MCQ part. Next, we will discuss the descriptive part in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.